Hi, I thought it would be really nice to do something where I read some poetry in the evening before the end of the day, before I go. It will teach me a lot because I know little bits and pieces about poets, various poets, but I'm not hugely familiar with a lot of the American poets and some of the other world poets. Because when we're at school in the UK, we usually just get taught about British poets. Strange but true. Some ancient Greek poets, something like that, but nothing much more than probably mostly British poets. So I thought it'd be quite nice to do a little bit of a poetry thing every day. So I'm going to do some readings from some of my favourite poets. One of them actually is Robert Frost. Now he is just spectacular. And in my first book, An Apothecary of Art to Soothe Your Soul, I quoted his fabulous poem, which I'm going to read to you now. It's The Road Not Taken. But just to say, Robert Frost was born in 1874. He died in 1963. He was an American poet, really, really revered throughout the world. Super brilliant, great mind, and absolutely fantastic. He was born in San Francisco. His father was from New England, and he didn't get to go to New England until he was about 12, apparently. He has this kind of astonishing original voice, which for me really typifies the best of some of my favourite American poets. And I think he's sort of not in a class of his own, but he's certainly up there. And so I'm going to read a few of his poems today, starting with... Can I start with The Road Not Taken? I hope so. I hope I've got it here. The Road Not Taken. So, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. I'm just going to have a little sip of water. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there, had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden back. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. I love that. I'm going to read another one by Robert Frost now called Out Out. The buzzsaw snarled and rattled in the yard and made dust and dropped stove-length sticks of wood. Sweet-scented stuff with the breeze drew across it, and from there those that lifted eyes could count 5 mountain ranges, one behind the other, under the sunset far into Vermont. And the saw snarled and rattled as it ran light or had to bear a load, and nothing happened. Day was all but done. Call it a day, I wish they might have said, to please the boy by giving him the half hour that a boy counts so much when saved from work. His sister stood beside them in her apron to tell them supper. At the word, the saw, as if to prove saws knew what supper meant, leaped out at the boy's hand, or seemed to leap. He must have given the hand. However it was, neither refused the meeting, but the hand. The boy's first outcry was a rueful laugh as he swung toward them, holding up the hand, half in a pill, but half as if to keep the life from spilling. Then the boy saw all, since he was old enough to know, big boy doing a man's work, though a child at heart. He saw all spoiled. Don't let him cut my hand off, the doctor, when he comes. Don't let him, sister. So, but the hand was gone already. The doctor put him in the dark of ether. He lay and puffed his lips out with his breath, and then the watcher at his pulse took fright. No one believed. They listened at his heart. Little less nothing, and that ended it. No more to build on there, and they, since they were not the one dead, turned to their affairs. Well, that's pretty cruel. I haven't read that one before. Blimey, oh God, golly gosh, is all I can say. That's a bit nasty. Let's read something a little bit more, just a little bit something else. Mending Wall. I'm going to read Mending Wall by Robert Frost. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it, and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one stone on a stone. But they would have the rabbit out of hiding, to please the yelping dogs, the gaps, I mean. No one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. I let my neighbour know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are loaves and some so nearly balls we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side. It comes to little more. There where it is we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says good fences make good neighbours. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbours? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offence. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down, I would say. Elves to him. But it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather he said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand, like an old stone savage armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbours. I'm not sure if good fences do make good neighbours, actually. I'm not sure about that. Okay, I'm going to read one more from Robert Frost. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake, to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and snowy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. I'm going to read that one again because I like that one. It was a bit more upbeat. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake, to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sound the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Interesting. Right, let's see, who else shall we read something of today? Let's have a woman. This is a woman I don't know. She may be, is she? Oh, she's from London. I've never heard of her. Charlotte Mew, 1869 to 1928. She was one of Thomas Hardy's favourite writers, apparently, and she was very interested in the beginning of, she's very, very prominent apparently in the beginning of early 20th century women's writing, and her life was neither easy nor happy. She was relatively well-to-do. She travelled in frequently. France particularly marked her imagination. Despite her reticence, she urgently needed to express something, the nature of which herself she didn't completely grasp. So I'm going to read one of her poems. I've never read her work before. So let's have a little go. Charlotte Mew. This is called Fame. Let's see if this has something interesting to tell us. Fame. Sometimes in the overheated house, but not for long, smirking and speaking rather loud, I see myself among the crowd when no one fits the singer to his song, or sifts the unpainted from the painted faces of the people who are always on my stare. They were not with me when I walked in heavenly places, but could I spare in the blind earth's great silences and spaces, the din, the scuffle, the long stare, if I went back and it was not there? Back to the old known things that are the new, the folded glory of the gorse, the sweet briar air, to the larks that cannot praise us, knowing nothing of what we do, and the divine wise trees that do not care. Yet to leave fame still with such eyes and that bright hair, God, if I might, and before I go hence take her stead to our tossed bed. O little dream, no matter how small, how wild. Just now I think I found it in a field, under a fence, a frail dead newborn lamb, ghostly and pitiful white, a blot upon the night, the moon's dropped child. Oh, I think that's rather lovely. I think that's lovely. One little dream. Oh, I'm going to read the last bit. And the divine wise trees that do not care, yet to leave fame still with such eyes and that bright hair. God, if I might, and before I go hence, take in her steed to our tossed bed. One little dream, no matter how small, how wild. Just now I think I found it in a field, under a fence, a frail dead newborn lamb, ghostly and pitiful and white, a blot upon the night, the moon's dropped child. Oh, that's a bit sad, isn't it? Oh, how does that make you feel? It makes me feel a little bit sad. Ah, sweet little lamb, dead little lamb, a blot upon the night, a moon's dropped child. I remember when I first came to England and we moved to this little cottage in Kent. Actually, it was East Sussex, in a little village called Mayfield. And it was one of those little black and white cottages, and it had floors that sort of went down like that. And I can remember everything. I've said this before. Everything was icy cold. It was freezing cold. Really, really, really frozen. Frozen. And there were fields at the back of the cottage. And you could get from a little side lane, over a little stile, into the field. And we did that one day. We went for a walk, and it had been raining, but everything had frozen over. So it was really desolate, middle of winter, and everything was frozen. And the middle of the field, there was this glassy, frozen, almost like a lake. And there, I can remember for the first time in my life seeing a sheep's skull. And there was a dead sheep, and then there was a sheep's skull. There's a little dead lamb reminded me of that in the field. And I remember being really horrified. I was only about 5, and I remember being really horrified at that, thinking how harsh that was. I mean, how could the farmer leave the sheep out in the freezing cold like that for them to die? Maybe they were really old, maybe they'd been there for a long time. I don't know, but I just remember being really struck by that. It was a very vivid image in my mind. This frozen, flooded field. And it must have been sort of February time. It gets very cold in the UK in February. Often we get snow in February. And it was this kind of haunting, sort of very grey, desolate field. Icy, glassy, frozen, sort of flooded plain of field. And then this dead sheep and a completely rotted, sort of bare bone skull. It was not very nice. Right, I'm going to read the next poem by this Charlotte Mew, because I quite like her and it's quite a discovery. This is called Sea Love. Tide be running the great world over. 'Twas only last June month, I mind, that we was thinking the toss and call in the breast of the lover so everlasting as the sea. Here's them same little fishies that splutter and swim with the moon's old glim on the grey, wet sand, and him no more to me, no more to him than the wind going over my hand. I tell you what, I'm going to read that in a kind of Cornish accent, because this is me doing my my kind of Cornish accent. My son and some of my best friends are down in Cornwall, so guys, this is for you. Tide be running the great world over. 'Twas only last June month, I mind, that we was thinking the toss and call in the breast of the lover, so everlasting as the sea. Here's the same little fishies that sputter and swim with the moon's old glimmin' on the grey, wet sand, and him no more to me, no more to him, than the wind going over my hand. That's quite fun, isn't it? I like that. Let's see. Let's have a. I'm going to read one more from Charlotte Mew, and it's called "Not for That City," but I'm not going to do it in a Cornish accent. Not for that city of the level sun, its golden streets and glittering gates ablaze, the shadeless, sleepless city of white days, white nights, or nights and days that are as one. We weary when all is said, all thought, all done. We strain our eyes beyond the dusk to see what from the threshold of eternity we shall step into. No, I think we shun the splendour of that everlasting glare, the clamour of that never-ending song, and if for anything we greatly long for, it is for some remote and quiet stare, which winds to silence and a space for sleep, too sound for walking and for dreams too deep. I quite like that. I'm going to read that one again. Not for that city, not for that city of the level sun, its golden streets and glittering gates ablaze, the shadeless, sleepless city of white days, white nights, or nights and days that are as one. We weary when all is said, all thought, all done. We strain our eyes beyond the dusk to see what from the threshold of eternity we shall step into. No, I think we shun the splendour of that everlasting glare, the clamour of that never-ending song, and if for anything we greatly long, it is for some remote and quiet stare, which winds to silence and a space for sleep, too sound for walking and for dreams too deep. That's a good one. I like that a lot. Nice one, Charlotte Mew. That was really good. Oh, the lovely W.B. Yeats. Should I do a bit of W.B. Yeats before I go off and think about shutting my doors for the evening? Although I've got lots and lots to do. I do love W.B. Yeats. Let's see what we've got. Let's do The Second Coming. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart and centre cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosened upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, whilst the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming! Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of the spiritus mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with a lion body and a head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born? Interesting. Let's have a look and see who else we can read. Let's have a little read. Let's have a little look. Let's go a little further into some modern poems, shall we? Some modern poetry. Let's see. Oh, let's do some Dylan Thomas. I do like a bit of Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle, one of my favourite poems. Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage, against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning they, do not go gentle into that good night. Good men the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage, against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay, rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on that sad height, curse bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. That's a good one. I love that one. And I'm going to read a refusal. I'm going to read the hand that signed. The hand that signed the paper felled a city. 5 sovereign fingers taxed the breath. Doubled the globe of dead and halved a country. These 5 kings did a king to death. The mighty hand leads to a sloping shoulder. The finger joints are cramped with chalk. A goose's quill has put an end to murder. That put an end to talk. The hand that signed the treaty bred a fever, and famine grew and locusts came. Great is the hand that holds dominion over man by a scribbled name. The 5 kings count the dead, but do not soften the crusted wound nor stroke the brow. A hand rules pity as a hand rules heaven. Hands have no tears to flow. That's very true, isn't it? We live in a cruel world, dominated by people, mostly men, who decide whether or not we're going to fight each other, I suppose. It's not good. Right, let's have a look at... Oh, this looks like an interesting modern poem by a chap called Edwin Morgan. Now, who is this Edwin Morgan? I'm probably being very silly here. Edwin Morgan served in the Royal Army. He's obviously British, I would imagine. What I love about dormice is their size. This is called A Few Things. What I love about dormice is their size. What I hate about rain is its sneer. What I love about Brattak Gorm is its unflappability. What I hate about scent is its smell. What I love about newspapers is their Etoan shriddle. What I hate about philosophy is its pursed lip. What I love about Rory is his old grouse. What I hate about Pam is her pinky. What I love about semi-precious stones is their preciousness. What I hate about diamonds is their mink. What I love about poetry is its iron engine. And what I hate about hogs is their cité. What I love about love is its porridge spoon. What I hate about hate is its eyes. What I love about hate is its salts. What I hate about love is its dog. What I love about Hank is his string vest. What I hate about the twins is their 3 gloves. And what I love about Mabel is her teeter. What I hate about gooseberries is their look, feel, smell and taste. What I love about the world is its shape. What I hate about a gun is its lock, stock and barrel. And what I love about bacon and eggs is its predictability. What I hate about derelict buildings is their reluctance to disintegrate. What I love about a cloud is its unpredictability. What I hate about you, chum, is your china. And what I love about many waters is their inability to quench love. That's a good one. I think I might read that again. What I love about dormice is their size. What I hate about rain is its sneer. What I love about the Brattak Gorm is its unflappability. What I hate about scent is its smell. What I love about newspapers is their Etoan shriddle. Shriddle? What I hate about philosophy is its pursed lip. What I love about Rory is his old grouse. What I hate about Pam is her pinky. What I love about semi-precious stones is their preciousness. What I hate about diamonds is their mink. What I love about poetry is its iron engine. What I hate about hogs is their sete. What I love about love is its porridge spoon. What I hate about hate is its eyes. What I love about hate is its salts. What I hate about love is its dog. What I love about Hank is his string vest. What I hate about the twins is their 3 gloves. What I love about Mabel is her teeter. What I hate about gooseberries is their look, feel, smell and taste. What I love about the world is its shape. What I hate about a gun is its lock, stock and barrel. What I love about bacon and eggs is its predictability. What I hate about derelict buildings is their reluctance to disintegrate. What I love about a cloud is its unpredictability. What I hate about you, chum, is your china. And what I love about many waters is their inability to quench love. I think I really enjoyed that. I'm going to read one more from this Edwin Morgan chap. Where is brood? Where's brood? So many souls to be saved. The bracken is thick, the wild cat is quick. The foxes dance in the moonlight. The salmon dances in the waters. The adders dance in the thick brown bracken. Where's brood? Where's man? There's too much nature here. Eagles and deer. But where's the mind and where's the soul? Show me your kings, your women, the man of the plough, and cry me to your cradles. It wasn't for a fox or an eagle I set sail. It's a bit dramatic. Right, let's have a look at... This is Frank O'Hara. We'll do two more poems. This is by Frank O'Hara, and it's called Why I Am Not a Painter. I am not a painter. I am a poet. Why? I think I would rather be a painter, but I'm not. Well, for instance, Mike Goldberg is starting a painting. I drop in, sit down and have a drink. He says, I drink, we drink. I look up. You have sardines in it. Yes, it needed something there. Oh, I go and the days go by and I drop in again. The painting is going on and I go and the days go by. I drop in. The painting is finished. Where's the sardines? All that's left is just letters. It was too much, Mike says. But me, one day I'm thinking of a colour, orange. I write a line about orange. Pretty soon it's a whole page of words, not lines. Then another page. There should be so much more, not of orange, of words, of how terrible orange is, and life. Days go by. It is even in prose. I am a real poet. My poem is finished, and I haven't mentioned orange yet. It's 12 poems, and I call it Oranges. And one day in a gallery, I see Mike's painting called Sardines. I suppose you can paint sardines. You can paint over them. You can still call the painting Sardines. You can write about oranges, but you don't have to mention the word oranges, I suppose. That's the way life is, I would imagine, in some people's lives. Okay, let's have a look. Is there somebody very... Okay, Adrienne Rich. Let's read a poem by her. Shall we? Or no, let's read a poem by somebody else. Ted Hughes. I know Ted Hughes can be a little bit miserable. I wanted to finish on a kind of upbeat poem. Oh, Sylvia Plath will be too miserable too, I think. Seamus Heaney's lovely. Okay, let's do a little bit of Seamus Heaney. I do love him. Okay. The Haw Lantern. The wintry haw is burning out of season. Crab of the thorn, a small light for small people, wanting no more from them but that they keep the wick of self-respect from dying. Not having to blind them with illumination, but sometimes when your breath plumes in the frost, it takes the roaming shape of Diogenes, with his lantern seeking one just man. So you end up scrutinized from behind the haw. He holds up at eye level on its twig, and you flinch before its bonded pith and stone. In its blood prick, you wish its blood prick that you wish would test and clear you. Its pecked at ripeness that scans you, then moves on. That's a little bit depressing, isn't it? I'm not sure there's anything else I really want to read from there. Let me just have a look and see if there's another bit of poetry I want to read. No, probably not actually. Well, let me just have another look in this book, because there are probably some lovely poems in here. And I thought it'd be quite nice to actually read something that was okay, let's read this. Imagine a Forest. It's by W.S. Graham. Imagine a forest, a real forest. You're walking in it and it sighs. Round you where you go in a deep ballad on the border of a time you have seemed to walk in before. It is nightfall and you go through trying to find between the twittering shades the early starlight edge of the open moorland you know. I have set you here, and it is not a dream I put you through. Go on between the elephant bark of those breeches into the lightning almost glade, and he has taken my word and gone. Through his own electric darkening upon himself, and he's come across a glinted night lying down. He's come across a glinted night lying dying on needles under a high tree. Ease his visor open gently to reveal whatever white encased face will ask out at you who it is you are, or if you will finish him off. His eyes are open. Imagine he doesn't speak. Only his beard moving against the metal signs that he would like to speak. Imagine a room where you are home, taking your boots off from the wood in that deep ballad, very not a dream, and the fire noisily kindling up and breaking its sticks. Do not imagine I put you there for nothing. I put you through it there, in that halt of words between the bearded live oaks and the beeches, for you to meet a man alone, slipping out of whatever cause he thought he lay there dying for. Hang up the ballad behind the door. You are come home, but you are about to not fight hard enough and die, in a no less desolate dark wood, where a stranger shall never enter. Imagine a forest, a real forest. That's an interesting one. One last one. I'm going to read one last one. I leave this at your ear for when you wake. Again by W.S. Graham. I leave this at your ear for when you wake, a creature in its abstract cage asleep. Your dreams blindfolded you by the light they make. The owl called from the naked woman tree, as I came down by the Carl farm to hear your house silent by the speaking sea. I have come late, but I have come before, later with slate steps from stone to stone, to hope to find you listening for the door. I stand in the ticking room. My dear, I take a moth kiss from your breath. The shore gulls cry. I leave this at your ear for when you wake. That's very beautiful, isn't it? I'm going to read that again. I leave this at your ear for when you wake. A creature in its abstract cage asleep. Your dreams blindfolded you by the light they make. The owl called from the naked woman tree as I came down by the Kyle farm to hear your house silent by the speaking sea. I have come late, but I have come before, later with slate steps from stone to stone, to hope to find you listening for the door. I stand in the ticking room. My dear, I take a moth kiss from your breath. The shore gulls cry. I leave this at your ear for when you wake. That's so beautiful. That's really beautiful. So romantic. Wow. There we go. It's a bit of romance for you on a Monday evening, or Monday afternoon, late afternoon, early evening here. Poetry has a fabulous way of transporting you, doesn't it? I mean, it really is incredible. I've read about, half a dozen different poets there throughout probably the last century. And each one different. Each one has its own... Each poet has their own language. Each poet has their own way of speaking. Each poet has a way of actually communicating what they want to say, what's deeply held inside. One day I'll read you some of my poetry. When I write poetry, it's kind of... It's similar to painting in a way, but it's a little bit different because I sometimes feel poems just kind of brewing inside me. They brew and brew and brew, or sort of ferment, really, I suppose. They ferment and then they get distilled and distilled. And the distillation is what comes the words on the page. And that's what I love about writing poetry. And I'd love to hear some of your poetry, or why don't you share some of your poetry? I'd love to I'd love to read it. If you're brave enough to share it on the comments, why don't you share it? And if you want to message me, anything that you feel like me reading out, I'd love to read it out. And maybe I could do that tomorrow. I mean, I'm really hoping that we're going to have a sort of poetry sort of little interlude every day, because poetry is so wonderful and it really enables one to kind of escape into another realm, into another space, just for a few minutes. There's so much going on in the world, and if you can just close your eyes and listen to a poem, or write a poem even, it can really kind of let out a lot of those pent up feelings. And what better way to tell somebody how much you love them or express how you feel than through words, than through poetry? I think probably what I'll try and do tomorrow is I'll dig up a few really interesting female poets and read those tomorrow, because that would be a really lovely thing to do. And if you have any particular favourite female poets that you'd like me to read out, please do let me know. And if you'd like me to read, as I said, if you'd like me to read some of your poetry, then I'd really love to do that too. I think it's very exciting. There's so much created by humans. We've got so much to be proud of. Although we go around destroying civilization after civilization throughout history, every so often there's a sort of a trailblazer in the creative arts, whether it's in, well, it's in everything from, science all the way through to inventors, explorers, whatever it is. I mean, fantastic ages through history. But there always seems to be a trailblazer poet or artist, or people who are fantastic authors, and people that are true inspiration to everybody. So I'd love to hear what your true inspirations are, and we can share them here. I'm going to make this a kind of a regular thing, and now my Wi-Fi is back up and running. It's great to have proper Wi-Fi and not to be glitchy. I hope this isn't too glitchy for you. And now I'm feeling a lot better. I've got energy to do it as well. So anyway, lots and lots of love. I'm going to go, it's very dull outside. I'm going to go and do boring things like get my laundry in from the washing line before it gets too cool outside. I'm going to put my feet up. I'm going to pour myself a nice long tall glass of pomegranate cordial, because that's my favourite drink at the moment, and think about what I'm going to have for supper. And I hope you have a lovely evening, and I hope that you enjoy whatever it is that you're going to do for the rest of your day, wherever you are in the world. And I just want to say how grateful I am to everyone. You've been so supportive through me coming through my recovery. I'm feeling so much better and so much healthier after I had my horrible flare-up, which was about 2 weeks ago now. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. It really means an awful lot to me. And I never feel lonely when I've got you guys to talk to. It's just wonderful. So have a fabulous evening, whatever you're doing. And I will... Let me just take a look at the comments, because there's a few comments here. I'm going to do it on my phone because it's always a nightmare trying to do it online while the live thing is up. So let's just have a little look and see what these comments are here from people. I hope they're nice comments. So Melissa says, could I share the book that I'm reading? Oh, Melissa, here we go. This is the book I'm reading from. It's The Great Modern Poets. So, yeah, I hope that, let me just turn the sound off here. So I hope that you can get hold of this. It's quite an old book. I've had it for a while. It's really good. It's got lots of different poets in it. And it's old, so old, in fact, that it's even got a CD in it. So you can listen to them as well if you still have a CD player. So yeah, it's a really good really good book. It's published by Quercus Poetry. So yeah, it's a good book. I bought it probably about 10 years ago. So that's the name of that book, but I'll write it down. I'll write it in the feed for you. So we've got Annie says the Dylan Thomas poem is awesome. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's one of my absolute favourites. I love that. I think that's something I'll probably read at my father's funeral. Actually, it's just fantastic. Yeah, Veronica's like, but I love the gooseberries, which are almost impossible to find here in Vancouver Island. I love gooseberries. Sometimes you can buy gooseberries. You can buy the very pale pink coloured gooseberries if you're very fortunate. They have quite a short season here. But I do love them. I do love making gooseberry fool. I mean, I think they're lovely. And if you just put a little bit of sugar in them and have them on some really lovely thick sort of bio-natural yoghurt. Oh, so good. They've kind of got that sort of tartness to them, which, I love it. No other fruit has that. I mean, yeah, red currants and black currants, but they're not the same. I think gooseberries are fabulous. And the pale pink ones just make such a gorgeous colour if you make a gooseberry fool with them. I love them. I'm with you, Veronica. So Didi Zoroni says that they're listening, painting a canvas. They're not a poet. Nice one. I think painters are poets. Actually, we write with paint. That's what we do. We write with paint. Melissa sends a big heart. Annie says this poetic interlude is a lovely gift. Annie Pepper recommends Mary Oliver. So I'll read some Mary Oliver for you. Melissa says Mary Oliver. Annie says thank you so much. Glad I'm feeling better. Dee Dee says, thank you, this came across my new feed just at the right time. People are saying thank you, thank you, thank you, and yeah, I'd love to do some more readings. So I'll do some more tomorrow. If you were enjoying this, then I will definitely do it. So I'm going to go now and leave you to the rest of your lovely evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you can get those gooseberries. If not, go and find some gooseberry ice cream or some gooseberry yogurt or something like that. Yum, yum, yum. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Lots and lots and lots of love. Take care, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me. And I'll definitely try and do this again tomorrow before I finish up. So lots of love. Have a fabulous evening. Goodbye.